Divine Sunshine, and this is the Playground Experience Q&A Live. Yay, Sandbox Edition. I have my lovely co-host here, Kathy D, and my other lovely co-host, April Williams. Yay! Feeling like Kermit the Frog. Yay! Yes, but you know the topic that we're talking about tonight is the exhaustion of the divine feminine. I mean, I have seen it run the gamut on all different channels. I've even played the starring role of the exhausted divine feminine energies, which is also my supporting ones, is Kathy D and April Williams, and starred in the movie with me. It's coming to a theater near you. But I mean, it just really exactly has any messages from my okay.
If they come in, we'll let you know. We just never know what's gonna happen.
There you go. We'll never know. We'll never know on that one. So again, we have a lot of people saying they're exhausted, giving up. I even seen on Divine Masculine channel with Zach. He was saying stay in there. I even seen on Benita saying stay in there. I've said it on my Divine Feminine channel. Stay in there, hang in there. And it's just really just exhaustion, like a soul tired, like never before, from all the energies, everything that we have felt, from all these retrogrades or energies that are coming to us, and trying to deal with the shifts of it all. And even our Divine Masculines, even energies have been triggering us, and that's been adding on top of those things. So this has been, majorly us doing those shifting and trying to get ourselves into like another gear shift. Like when you used to have all those gear shifts and driving, and you're like, okay, I kind of drove out this gear 1 for a while, and I'm trying to gear shift up to 2, but somebody makes me slide right back to gear 1. So let me turn over to my co-host to see what's the things. Hey, Kiki. Hello, Kelly Bell. All right then. So, and Benita. So is there anything else about what's your take on this exhaustion?
Who's going?
That's me.
I'm so tired. Like she said, you said me exhausted. I raised my hand. Yes. And it's like everything you put down, you're like, I'm putting more things down. I'm taking control of my life. And then there's more stuff just keeps piling on. You're like, where did you come from? Now that I'm paying attention to you, you need a lot more attention, kind of thing. But momentum is going. I'm feeling like positive about it. But at the same time, I'm really dragging my heels a little bit because it's just such... What did Dean Cole say? Like cold butter, peanut butter? Like trying to spread cold peanut butter on a piece of bread.
Oh, Lord, yeah, that's messed up on some butter. You're gonna tear that bread up.
Like trying to spread Amish peanut butter on your bread,
Right.
even if you've kidnapped it from the restaurant.
Right. That's cool. Can't do, will not do. What's happening, Cat D? What's about the exhaustion?
The exhaustion is just that. It is absolutely exhausting, but it's one of those things. Please hear me out. Listen well. For everybody in the back row, listen twice as hard. Gratitude. You got to get into that level of gratitude, because as you are that exhausted and you are that worn down, you will find gratitude. My soul sister Benita and we have talked about this, and we have been moved to tears in so many ways of being being in gratitude for family, for people that have been brought into our lives, for experiences, because things are opening up. We're seeing these things. We know they're coming. We feel them. It's like April talks about that momentum. We feel that momentum. We're kind of dragging our heels because we still have a little bit of that what if is hanging back there, waiting for that other shoe to drop. But I'm here to tell you, it's not going to drop. It's not going to drop.
It's not going to drop.
It's not going to drop. You're going to be good. You just go into gratitude. You go into gratitude and just know that things are moving forward. Things are happening. Things are amazing. And you've got to get into that mindset. You've got to be thankful for those little things. You've got to be thankful. And if you are one of those that have been in a separation, you know what? Be so thankful for that. I really take some time, look back on your life, where you were before the separation and where you are now. The things that you have accomplished while in that, you couldn't have done with that other person with you. Because at that point, you would have been so tunnel visioned on them, you wouldn't have taken the time to take care of you. So there's another level of gratitude. Thank you for the separation. And if you caused the separation, thank yourself for the separation.
Ooh, girl.
She's saying a lot right there. Hold on. I don't know. I said,
Butt pucker. Let's everybody make a diamond. Squeeze it real quick. It said, thank yourself for the separation. She sure did.
the hell
Yeah. And if you've got a karmic, if you're like in a situation like mine and you got your own, thank them. Thank them. You are at that point where you're about to graduate from that dojo. Thank them.
That's right.
Thank you so much for putting me in this uncomfortable position. Thank you so much for seeing what I won't deal with anymore. Thank you for showing me.
I want to bottle what you got. Let me get my cup here. Let me get my cup. Can you fill that up? Put that in my cup right here. Put it right in here. Pour it right up in here. Put it right
I'll throw it a little that way. I'll throw it a little that way. And I'll throw a little to you guys. But it's the thing. It's the gratitude. It's, we call it an adventure. It's not a journey because a journey has a negative connotation. We have to be thankful for this adventure. This is something we signed up for. We might not remember it. And there's still going to be a talking to about whose idea this was. But we signed up for it. And we're making it. We're making it. We're moving. Like April, that momentum. We're actually feeling it now. For so long, we felt nothing. And we were just kind of like, and what am I doing? Why am I here? But now that momentum's moving and that adventure is moving. That ride is starting to just slowly take off. If you've ever been to Disney World or an amusement park and you hear that when it starts, as that, the hydraulics kick in and you're going somewhere and you've got to be thankful for it. Because be thankful you're not stuck, because we're not.
I have to say that this is really funny to me because I'm reflecting back on our shows and like how we're going through our experiences. And I'm like, Debbie D is on fire right now, people. Do you understand? Word is truth right now. She is doing the work and she is sticking with it, and momentum is happening. And there are points like you go through it, you're doing all this work. You're like, but I did it. Why haven't I graduated? Aren't I on the other side? Why aren't I in union yet? What's going on? And it's that just keep going forward. Just keep trudging. Even if you have to stop and retie your shoelaces, because that's what it feels like for me at times. It's just, why am I seeing these lessons all over again? Why am I? But I said that, right? Like, it's so funny I love it. Actually, I love it so much when I say, when April said, and I'm like, oh, they mean me, April. I said that. I knew that at some point. Where the hell did that go?
Mm-hmm.
And just remembering your value, right? Your worth. The journey into self really does lead you out into the other, because it allows you to connect in this rich, more I guess just more visceral, beautiful way, right? Because you're no longer holding all those things that kept you from fully merging in the first place. Now you're realizing all those sticky, tender parts, and a lot of us, if you're here right now, you're doing the work, and it's not pretty sometimes, and it's really tender sometimes, and it's just like, whoa, I actually have to say that and admit it as being a part of an old paradigm. Right. And realize we're picking the language, because we're not saying it's now. We're saying it's part of that old me that I'm letting go of, and stepping into your beauty and your authenticity. Your authenticity can be really unnerving sometimes, because
Mm-hmm.
then you really start to feel passion in a way that makes you afraid of losing it sometimes, that we push it off or we procrastinate. Because once you're in that groove, I don't know. It's almost like we were fed these old stories that we seem to think are true, like life is pain, or I don't know, what is it? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, kind of
Right.
conceptual
Mm-hmm.
realities that we are slowly fading out by no longer using them and creating new language and using hashtaggery. It's my favorite hashtag, the world. Hashtag the beauty of life. Who's in love? With themselves?
Oh
And
yeah.
all right, here we go.
Yes, and so really, and we're talking about exhaustion of the divine feminine. I got two ways. One of them is controversial that we can go into in the second way, but definitely I've learned how to during this time is a lot of just being, a lot of stopping and like, okay, when myself says I'm tired, I'm honoring that, because a lot of times, sometimes I'm not honoring that. It's like, no, no, no,
Most definitely.
thing. I can do one more thing. And now my body and the inner child within me was like, nope, I can't do it. I don't want to pick up the cards today. Okay, so what are we gonna do? I just want to sit. Okay, so we're sitting today. That's what we're gonna do. What you want to do today? I just want to just watch this or watch this TV or whatever. This kind of out. So again, when you feel that exhaustion, it's okay for you to press pause. Like pause. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying I'm off the journey. I'm not saying that. I just like in the middle of the ride while I'm at the top. I just like, can you lead me down the thing down? And I'm gonna come back to that when I'm ready. Because right now my nerves are on edge with all this stuff that's being
Mm-hmm.
sent. And so that's another thing. I think we feel guilty even about with us, those people in that divine masculine energy that I gotta go, I gotta do, I gotta be, I gotta do something, I gotta solve. Otherwise, I'm not doing anything on this journey. We've got to now understand it's all right to just not do anything. It's all right to just be. And I think that's another thing to the equation, because you're powering yourself up. It's just like a phone. You plug it in, you're getting that extra charge, and you're waiting for the cell things to come back up, because really, actually, you're on 25%. But you're waiting for yourself by you taking that time out for you to be able to move yourself all the way back up to 100%. And it's okay. And a lot of us are not really taking that time out. We're looking, we're getting readings, we're not honoring the time of just being, or the separation, as you're saying, thanking God that it actually had happened. And, rather you did it or they did it. We're not honoring the triggers that come around too, that either the other people are placing or our divine counterparts are doing as well, and understanding, hey, there's a reason. Guess what? If that person triggered you or what they had said, guess what? It's just like one more thing that you got to go back again and say, okay, let me look back at that lesson again. Maybe I thought I had it, but I don't. But that doesn't mean for you to get to a point that you're giving up, because I hear a lot of people, because of this extra push. It's just like having a baby, although I haven't had a baby yet. I'll put that out
Mine were C-sections, so
You
I was
sound,
knocked out. So I'm good.
I was fully conscious and undrugged. Well,
there.
so
Right.
yeah, you sound pretty accurate. There was that final push. I needed a slight distraction so that it's like getting the parking lot at manifestation, where
Okay.
you're like, or the parking, right? I wish I could park right up to the building, but then you don't really like. You're not all like, if I don't get it, I'm gonna hurt somebody. No, it's just like I'm driving, and huh, hey, there's a parking spot, or huh, there's not. But then you look over and oh wait, there's one getting opened up for me right now. It's that final little allowing, right?
Right.
Because your body will do it anyway. It has to energetically happen anyway. And when you fight it, you have all these kinds of pain and discord and disease and all of these things that they start to kind of amplify if they're not allowed to be. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we're dealing with so many. It's like the ramifications of thousands of years of suppression of both suppression and unbalanced masculine and feminine. Or I heard it, somebody said it, who was I listening to? They termed it Alpha and Omega. They no longer looked at it as feminine and masculine, which I liked because they're two awesome forces versus
Right.
it being all about this duality. I mean, it's not duality, but they're just two forces. When you're in their alpha or when you're in your omega, you're receiving.
Yeah, I'm finding. Let's jump on that. That's a good segue too. I'm still finding we're getting a problem with understanding the energies that there's people still not getting it. They're still not getting the understanding that we're talking about. It's the difference between the divine masculine that doesn't have to do anything with males, and there's a divine feminine energy which has nothing to do with females. I don't know how we can get into it, and it's still spirit every time when I do my readings like that to separate or to really help to define. It still say we still ain't got the finger on the pulse. They're like, you're like, I almost say you're warm but you ain't hot. That
Okay,
still
so
ain't it.
one, I want to do this real fast because this is
Even Ethereal is saying they're not getting it.
Ethereal. So I want to say, first and foremost, they
Okay.
are going to get it. They are starting to get it. Let's enter that into our conversation, right? Energetically,
That's them
somebody is getting a message. Okay, so they are getting it. It's a matter of how to appeal to them so that they understand it, right? You
right.
got your different styles of learner, and you also have people who have cognitive dissonance. That was funny the way it sounded when you turned it off. Anyway, yeah, there's like a triggering level, right? Where they want to hear what you're saying, but then they get trailed off as soon as they start to get to an archetype in their own mind of what
Right.
feminine or masculine is.
I got
So
you.
when we peel off the layers of inherent sexuality that is involved with the words feminine and masculine, and we move into something that is more ambiguous like alpha and omega, but we still give it the same attributes,
Okay.
we
Right.
can then go through whatever mechanism a person is using to skirt integrating the body,
Okay.
because denying sex is denying the body. But if sex is such a trigger that it makes you jump out of body, then you need to go to another method to understand it to then reintegrate sexuality. Because there's now competition once you start having sexuality for some reason. I've seen it, but now we're moving into a state of balance where everybody is able to have whatever their own individual balance is. And with all of this stuff on us slowing down for introspection and just cleaning house and taking assessment for our health, we're getting into, I think, a nicer flow and appreciation for everyone as a whole instead of us individually in our own little. That's so funny. We're all in our own little boxes, but we're now declassifying things and not making it so rigid. So
Yeah.
like it's a weird like
Oh, and in some ways, I also want to credit it. I believe, and I remember when I went to school, they talk about it. They call it the trickle up or the trickle down theory. So I believe that really because of the younger generation coming along, rather than divine and don't know it, is because of them and have that push of that of fluency of that I'm fluid has also helped us to push us to kind of understand that hey, it's that the male and female, or rather talk about their sexuality. You know, I'm into girls today, I'm into boys tomorrow. Hey, that's because I'm experimenting, I'm finding myself. It's a freedom to that. Also helps us to, it's a push to also say, hey, you know what? We need to be kind of practice fluidity even in our energy as well. And I think that's also a push from the younger generation also experiencing and also impacting us as well. Energy coming with that new energy through the pipeline to say, hey, you know what? It might be something to that. I might not go to that extreme, or some people say to that, but you like, hey, it's something about that. They, hey, if that's the way I want to express myself with where I dress, you know, or whatever expression, that kind of to me has seemed like that's been an energy that they like say here, and they've made it kind of go up from the bottom, from the younger generation up into where we are energetically. That's just something that I've also have felt too, that it's always been there, but they've made it more acceptable, if I can say it that way.
or they just accept it and they're not as much paying attention anymore, right? Because
Right.
people they don't hear the elders as much as they hear their peers or people younger than them via our technology and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, their extrasensory abilities. All these kids are on fleek with the psychicness. Okay, so um,
Oh yeah.
so it's like it's a very interesting, because I think what I was referring to was pre hormonal changes, when
Okay.
Mhm.
sexuality becomes an activity versus just biological. Wait,
Okay.
that's all biological. Just organs versus they mean something and they do
Right.
something. Like how kids are, how they are in general. They just
Right.
are attracted to what they're attracted to. They have fun, they laugh,
Mhm.
they like eat happy, good foods that make them feel good. You know what I mean? Like they like
Right.
to be out in the sun or
Mm.
the shade. You know, they have their lightness. Once we start to put sexuality, the act of sex and pleasure, and those that are of reproductive age and older, because
Right.
even if you're not reproducing, you still have that drive that doesn't come in. And I think that because that avenue is so powerful and it's been hijacked for so many hundreds of years,
Yeah.
that that is when people start to get into the trauma modes of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
they shut down being able to hear about feminine if feminine has hurt or has been imbalanced, or they shut down being able to hear about masculine if masculine has hurt or been imbalanced. And because it's been that way for so many generations, a lot of people don't have the attachment or understand how to be loved by a masculine energy. What does that mean? And then men don't know how to be loving as a masculine energy. Not all men, but the masculine energy doesn't even know how to fully be masculine or allowed to be masculine. And then
Mm.
how that appears in a woman. And then all the race stuff is starting to come into a whole nother subset of this spiritual discussion, because I'm just happy to be who I am because I'm born this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Born in touch with spirit. Can't kill that.
Well, and so much of it is what society, it's not that we don't know how, it's because what society has put on us as how to be, how to be a man, how to be masculine. Um and that's a shame, because men that are fully embrace their masculinity and their femininity, they are wonderful. They embrace their whole being. And we've got to drop these paradigms, because and like I've said before, growing up in the South, especially the deep South, um from middle school and high school and stuff, being told how you were to act, that's how a lady acts. Well, that wasn't in my playbook. Even though my mom had been raised, to know what every 14 forks on the table were for, and I know how to use them. Will I ever set a table like that? Probably not, unless I'm looking for something. I'm not going to drag all that silverware out, like then I got to wash it, so I'm not going to do it. But and it's expected, and when it's put in that way of being expected, or this is how, and you're taught from generation to generation, well, your grandfather didn't say a lot and he was a strong man and he did all these great things, and well, why didn't he talk a lot? It's instilled in us, and that's what we've got to break out of. And it's like some people don't want to understand that we have both of these energies in us. And there are times, and we've talked before, many times before, there are times that we need to step into that masculine energy, and there are times we need to step into that feminine energy. It doesn't make us any less of a female when we're talking about genitalia to be in our masculine energy than to be in our feminine energy when we are in it healthy and in it the way we see it, not the way somebody else has put us into this box or this shape or this mold. When we are truly who we are, it flows perfectly and it feels right. And that's the thing, and that's what we've got to get away from the labels and go with the feeling. When you are fully in yourself, it feels good. There's your home. We talk about, you know, the divine masculine, the divine feminine, when you're with them, when you first meet them, when you first connect with them, when this is unveiled to you, they feel like home. Well, before that can happen, you have to feel like home to yourself. Those energies have to merge with you, and you understanding who you are and being home and being safe.
I want to say that you can feel it with them before you
Right.
feel it with
Oh,
yourself.
most
But
definitely.
if
Yes,
you
yes.
want it consistently, right?
Right.
Because that's
That's
what
it.
we're doing. We're polishing off all of
Mm-hmm.
that excess superfluous. Because there's a lot of conversations. That's hearing what you're saying when we start using masculine and feminine. And I think I'm gonna do my best to start working with alpha and omega as the terminology,
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
because
I do
because
too.
you really do shut down sometimes when you
Mm-hmm.
hear, because I hear people reflect back to me, oh, I was being a bitch, I was real masculine, and it's like, wait a minute, what I don't understand how those things, equal. So you think that men are aggressive, or that's the person's perspective. Yeah.
Can you explain why that person came up with the alpha and the omega? Because I'm hearing somebody say, okay, I kind of see why they chose that, but I'm kind of not. I know what it is. I think I do too. But
Well, we can all go into it, because I know that a person had actually put this together, and it
okay,
was a masculine. And I'll go back and get the names, and I'll put them I'll put it back on this after I go back and rewatch some stuff to get the
okay,
information of who originally coined those terms. They have a YouTube channel. Maybe I can even link it to.
okay.
Um,
April
but
Spirit. I know you know how to get that. So give me the alpha and the omega, April style.
Okay, well, I like to start with my name, April Williams. And April Williams, April means to open. Okay.
What?
Williams, will I am that I am sent me. So I am that I am considered also the Alpha and the Omega, the
Okay.
all encompassing definition of God, goddess, right? Because it's one long scope. And these are two just epically powerful forces, opposite yet equal and completely in balance. But at certain points, you're doing that alpha, you're doing that creation, that building. And then there's that times when you're in that omega, you're in observance, you're in flow, you're in feeling, so you're going to balance back and forth between these two spaces to create you at any given time. And you're going to be having that reflection with other individuals, and how strongly you're holding your alpha and your omega is how you are affected by others in their alpha or omega, or imbalance or balancing in that end.
I like that, and it does not such a heavy like a onus. They're telling me like of responsibility when you're saying it's defined only to the male or to the female. It's just again going back to that gear shift. It's what you're actually in. So I like the alpha and the omega perspective on there as well. Um, let's talk about also, since we talk about the exhaustion. I seen it on Benita's video. She was talking about also hanging in there. She talked about also taking on the energies of. Let's talk about some other things that's causing the exhaustion in the divine feminine. What are some
First of all,
yeah, okay. Okay.
perfection, aiming at perfection. Do you
Okay.
know that spiritual hijacking video I was talking about posting last week? I've
Right.
been editing that video for 4 weeks. Why haven't I posted it? And I'll tell you why. Because I keep going through. I could add this point here. If I could just let this little bit of extra information here,
Girl,
and if I could just edit this out, then maybe my message will be smoother. And the woman, that part of me that is able to be critical, is able to discern, flow, is in hyper mode. I'm trying so hard to flow that I'm officially going nowhere.
when spinning your wheels and going 360. Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Well, and
that's my definition of what partially some of the feminines are going through. We're aiming the duck to death. You know what I mean? Just got to keep going.
Okay. Energize a bunny.
well, and you know what else? Here's another thing, and this is a society thing, and it is brought on by wonderful commercialism and marketing, and that is if you walk into any major retailer, we are seeing Halloween stuff out, and it's shoved in a corner because they're pulling out the Christmas trees. And we all know that seasonal depression is a thing. And when you're in separation or you're not with your divine all the time, whatever your instance is, wherever you are on the spectrum, there is that longing, because thanks to Hallmark and the Folgers coffee, I can honestly say the commercial where the kids playing the piano, or the mom's playing the piano and the little girl singing the Christmas carol, and this will be the first time her brother's not here, and he comes in behind her and starts singing "Oh Holy Night," my heart drops and I cry, and I don't even have siblings. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't have any context to me. Okay. But I do have siblings. I take that back. I know I just heard Tammy scream, "You do have siblings." I do. I have fantastic siblings. But when I was younger, let me phrase that. These things are starting to happen, and we're getting that overload, and we're starting to get that. Unfortunately, people have lost jobs, and there have been time that money's down because of this COVID, because of this break we had to take. And now the thought is how we're going to do Christmas. How am, gee, I just, Christmas would be fine if I just had my DM, or I just had my job, or I just had a few more hours, or I just had this. So we're getting bombarded, as well as all these planets that are moving around and coming in and out of things that they've been in and out of for, some 6-8 months, some 12, 14 years. We've got all this stuff going on in the ethers. And then we've got good old marketing and commercialism, and it's shoving it in our faces. You got to keep up with the Joneses. And that's where you have to step back and say, I wish the Joneses well, but no, I don't have to keep up with them. But that's one of the things we're going through, because when we're being triggered, these seasons are triggering us. We're looking at these, Thanksgiving is a time for family. Well, if you're not going to be able to be with your family, yes, it's a sad time. It's hard, but you have to have gratitude that you have a wonderful family. And it's time, there's times you have to be able to say, it's just not right to be there right now. But it will be. And one day it'll be better than ever. And we have to be okay being okay.
Right.
And it's also okay not to be okay. But understand that that's where this unification with us, and like I was saying about finding home in ourselves, because so many times in so many of the chats I've read, well, if I just had my DM, if I just had my DF, they felt like home. I just missed them. I just wish I had them, all this stuff. We're going back into that codependency because of a holiday telling us we're supposed to have them. What a baby in a manger and being with the one you love, thanks to the Hallmark movies, has to do with each other. I don't understand. But it is, it's like tax season for the accountants. This is like tax season for the therapists. Starting from Halloween to after New Year's.
Oh.
This is
I heard an ad for one recently. I was like, man, if I had chosen my PhD path sooner, I could be making some good change from
it is, and it's so sad, but think about it. New Year's Eve. Who wants to be alone on New Year's Eve? This year, I really don't care. It's going to be me and the dog, and we're going to have a fine time. It's not like it has to be. And that's where I'm okay with not being okay. Yeah. And I embrace it because I know I'm going to be okay and I'm going to get through it. But we let advertising lie to us. And, the television, they're going to tell us a vision of what our lives are supposed to look like. That's not what our lives are supposed to look like. And I'll tell you, I have been on the other side of that. I have sat in the boardroom and worked on those kind of commercials and those kind of campaigns. And I'll tell you, you got a bunch of people that are overtired, have drank way too much coffee, had way little sleep, and we're eating sugar just to keep our eyeballs awake. Hey, would that be good? Oh, that would be good. That'd be good. And then we got it's not an emotional thing. It's trying to get you to buy into something you don't need.
Okay.
And that is a major part of what people are starting to feel, because the minute, and there's a lot of statistics on it, the minute those Christmas trees start coming out and Christmas decorations start going up in these stores, suicide rates go up.
Oh.
So then maybe we can spend our time in essence reminding, not only being grateful inside our heads, but out loud to each other, and then asking each other, what are a couple things you're grateful for this year? I know this has been one heck of a year, but what are you grateful for? I'm grateful for I got the time to really reflect and say what is important to me, and to cut some bullshit out, because I was playing games with myself thinking I was doing XYZ, but I was really distracting myself from being who I was authentically. I was, like there's a lot of ways that we can take what these statistics, because really what statistics are measurements of the past.
Right.
The
And we need to change them.
Past doesn't need to be the future. So in the present moment, if you're starting to see some kind of stuff like this happen between you, your neighbors, your friends, just check in on each other. Because this year has been very isolating in general. And now there's an even harder push at this time of year. But luckily, some of us are in areas that really don't have the feel to it in terms of seasons.
Yes.
Because if you feel those season effectiveness disorder is really, really simple as having too many rainy days in a row, you're gonna feel it. There's some interesting stuff that popped up in the chat, which it's funny because it's what was it? The exhaustion of the divine feminine, and what's coming up in the chat is talk about the masculine and sexuality, and
now there was one question way far up. It was from Kelly, and it was at 9:04 my time, so that'd be 8:04 your time, Divine Sunshine. And she said, do you all know what the fire in my hands may be? Oh, honey, do I know?
Does she know?
Do I know? Oh, dear Lord, do I know? Wait till it happens in your feet too. And those are energy surges. And just, I have, and everybody's going to have a different way to handle them and that they work. For mine is to go outside in the evening after the dew has fallen. Now, understand it's Florida. It was 90 today. So I can walk outside and I just put my hands down on the wet grass and my feet on that damp, even if it's not dewy yet, but that cool grass and that cool ground. And I put my hands and feet down, and that helps me. And it, like, literally, I can feel the energy. Like right now, as I'm talking about it, my hands and feet have been burning and I can feel it. It's like, almost like heat waves, but cooling waves coming in through my hands and then out my feet. And it's just those energy surges, and you just have to, kind of work through them. And they're going to happen in different ways and different times. Mine will be like my cheeks will get so flushed, and it's like I have a fever, but I take my temperature and I have no fever. I feel like my heart's racing. I wear my Fitbit. I check my heart rate. My heart's a resting state. It's not racing. So you just have to go with that and find what makes you feel better. I know some people hold ice in their hand, if that's what, because you're not hot to the touch. It's an internal heat. But that sensation, if that holding that cold sensation actually makes your mind go, okay, we're cooling down, do what works for you, but you're having energy surges.
What are you attracted to at the time? Are you being suggested to hold something? Are you being suggested to touch something? Sometimes you can just run your hands over your energy field and also see different spots that want that energy to go
Right.
through your hands
Also
or
you
your
can
breath.
do the energy ball. Now I've done that too when I've gone out and I put my hands and feet on the ground and I feel, and it's almost like it's, but you know me and my imagination, so I've got sounds and smells and everything else going on. I got my own playground going on in my head. And when that doesn't do it though, when I come back in the house and it's not calmed down, and I'll take it, I'll do an energy ball and I'll make an energy ball. And either with a manifestation that I've been thinking about or a worry I've had or just love, and I'll throw it out either at a person or I'll just throw it out to my family, just throw love or throw healing or throw whatever I'm inclined to do. When I just kind of say, all right, universe, where does this energy need to go? What are we going to do with it? We got to do something with it. And, you do that. And that helps a lot of times to give it back to where it needs to go. Because it's almost like little puddles, if you can imagine.
I was being guided to also, when that happens, for you to touch something metal. It said it would be like a conductor to be able to help you to ground yourself too. That's what they just said. They say they kept on yelling, like, tell them about the metal. Hold the metal. The metal will be a way of help you to ground you too.
What about wood? What about wood?
Wood and metal, yeah. Because I'm seeing Patricia doing it. As I'm seeing it, I'm seeing the whole metal, and I'm holding a seed that I remember she said that for grounding, or wood. Those two, something else. But they were saying metal because the metal could make more of it will cool you down.
And it'll conduct more.
Right. And so that's that too.
One thing I would like her to ask herself is it coming from outside of me or is it coming from within me? Are you picking it up off of something or is it just naturally cycling out of you through your hands?
Yeah, that's a good point because I've been through that, and so I know where it comes from.
So take some time to learn yourself. If you're asking the question, congratulations, because you are a super sensor. You can start to feel this energy. Look into the different chakras because there's an extended chakra system. It goes on to infinity, but your hands and your feet are big ones.
Yeah.
And you now have some type of healing gift. So learn about that and protection of yourself. Because once you start picking up energies, you really got to clean that stuff off. Just making sure that you know yourself and others. All right. I liked what she was talking about with dudes. Hey, CPA Texas, welcome.
Hey, she made it. CPA in Texas.
All my exes live in Texas. No, I was playing. Okay.
I don't think I have any in Texas. Oh,
I could go make an ex.
Well, I have one from Texas. Does that count?
Okay.
Save a horse.
What was I'm just saying. I'm just saying, But what was the other one you said about what time was that?
I was looking at 3:13 my time.
Okay, translation, anything with 3:13.
It says so. I read something.
It would be 8:13 your time.
Thank you. That's what. Is this the one you talking about?
Yeah. So there's actually a few of these messages which I thought were interesting, right? Because we're talking about masculine and feminine, and we keep saying, "Oh, they're out of balance. Oh, then we have been suppressed, and then da 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 da." Right. They both have been on that balance. If one is out of balance, the other is out of balance. That is just how it works permanently. We have both been over sexualized and under sexualized. They say, we want women to be sexy, but we don't want them to want sex. No, you know what I mean? We don't want them to put out sex overtly. And if they do that, then that's too masculine. But then masculine need to want nothing but sex. They can't have emotions. But then when a man feels, it's just crazy.
I'm confused.
I am too. Goodbye. Just kidding. And the sandbox has been closed. No.
Due to COVID and cleaning, we have to close the sandbox.
Kitties thinking this is a litter box. We've got to get out of here. Goodbye.
No, we don't want
um, all sexual energy has been hijacked up until recently when we have started to reincorporate sacred sexuality. And sacred sexuality is a mindset. It is not necessarily acting or being a certain, well, it's actually part of being, but it's not acting a certain way. You can't act your way to sacred. You can create the space for the energy to be made sacred. Sacred sexuality can be made between um, single like partners, right? Like monogamy. It can also be beyond that, right? So sacred sexuality is a huge scope. Now, when you're looking at sacred masculine and sacred feminine energies, society has assisted with the forgetting of sacredness. So sexuality energy has been hijacked for a long time. So people aren't using their intentions and their thoughts when they're releasing sexual energy. So they're no longer fully in control. They're giving that power and energy away. Those of us who are staying and cultivating that experience, cultivating our sexuality, understanding that females are a vessel and we do take in energy. Masculine puts out energy. Therefore, they can co create something extremely powerful. What energy have you been taking in? What was the energy in which you were created? What was the energy in which your parents were created? And so on and so forth to create you. Because even the way that you are, it has to do with how your mother's womb was cared for or not cared for. And that was created when your grandmother or your great grandmother was conceived. Like people don't seem to get that this is like this huge, huge, huge storyline. So they want to make it, oh, well, it's just the men right here because they jack off and they're just wasting their energy. It's like, no, 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 no. They have built it this way, and we are taking the time to take our sacredness back, which is part of us remaining steadfast as women or as the divine feminine or as the omega force into self-care, into acknowledging of feelings and emotions, into allowing that processing. We also get to allow our alpha state where we are seeking that pleasure, we are seeking that connection, we are seeking that, and we're building these bridges. So um, she says here, so when you release into your person, if your energy is not clear, you're leaving all of that energy in your person. Every person is leaving energy for and with and has received energy from and with another person who has been out of balance. Because if we were in balance, our entire state, our species, we would be at a whole nother level right now. So we're working our way towards more and more balanced state, more and more ease and comfort in who we are, which leaves for allowing for others to have ease and comfort and be who they are. And we're making the time now because I found that even like I was saying earlier, I took all the stuff off my plate. I even stopped talking to certain people as much because I thought, okay, this will give me more time to focus on the things I need, right? And then what happened? I spent 4 weeks editing a video, so I haven't published it. And then for some reason, even though I have 2 terabytes free on my iCloud, Apple's saying there's not enough space to upload the video. And then I'm just like, how do I keep going?
And it can be that simple. I mean, it's the smallest triggers that are throwing us off. These aren't major. We're not talking major triggers now. We have so many of us, especially the three of us, and I know I can throw my soul sister Benita in on these too. We have been through these major triggers, these big ones, like kick you in the back of the head kind of triggers. It's the little triggers. It's the way somebody spoke to you in a store that and then sent all just holy hell through you and like ice water down your spine kind of trigger. And a lot of times those are because we don't understand how we talk to ourselves. So when we're talked to disrespectfully by someone else, especially a stranger, it then comes back to us and it gives us that big kick in the back of the head. We deserve to be treated with respect. And two, where are we not treating ourselves with respect?
Yeah. Because they had them on. I listen to Spotify in the mornings and with their daily wellness. They owe me a plug. I've been plugging them on my channel.
You have been.
Have me some damn free Spotify on this. But anyway, the daily wellness, and they were talking about today's topic was kind words. How you speak to yourself kindly, using kind words, and how we're making the effort that when we're talking to others to make sure that we're using that type of dialogue and intentionality in speaking to ourselves, that it is kindness. Because it's like you'd be surprised of how you speak to yourself when you don't even know it unconsciously. Well, we know that as us spiritual beings is really doing this walk here, and we're really spiritually conscious about everything that we say and do. But I could understand how you're saying for the masses, for the regular ones, understanding that you have to really be with intentionality as you're actually doing that. I want to also, I hear what we're talking about. April has stated it, and then you did too about it. And I'm going back to Benita because we kind of went on there and we jumped off. How Benita stated in her video how that not only it seems like the DM, maybe that because the imbalance is happening out there in the world, and how the DM is actually the divine masculine, period, or the male, very otherwise, is really handling it. Our divine counterpart is handling, and how it's reflected on us, and how that's also adding on to the exhaustion. Because I even heard Benita talking about, they're saying that it was something he wasn't processing, but he was kicking it over to her side. And she's like, nah, this really yours. And then she's like, nah, let me think about it. Maybe I will handle this, because it might be something in there that might be able to help me on my journey as well. So I think that's also adding to our exhaustion too, as well, because some of those things are things that are shared. They keep showing me that, it's shared things, but a lot of times we like to say, nah, you take it, like Mikey. Nah, you eat it, Mikey. I used to tell Dad was our Mikey. Anything I don't want to eat, I give it to Dad. But my thing is, like, I guess it's almost like a masculine or a male that you would do that. Like, I don't want to deal with it. You strong enough, you go deal with it. And it's like, nah, it's really a shared thing that we both need to handle as well. I think that's also right now what we're dealing with, is adding on to our exhaustion as well, is that shared energy that we both need to process, but we haven't processed it yet. And that's adding also to our exhaustion that the divine feminine is feeling too.
I make it a point every day now,
Uh-huh.
before, because I used to pick up my phone because I wanted to just check the time, or turn off an alarm or whatever. Well, turn off alarm, it still happens, right? Snooze is still a thing. But anyway, I make myself focus on myself, period. Even if I'm breastfeeding, I have to sit there, do the gratitude. I have to sit there, take care of my body. I have to. This is the only job. Everything else is, plus on top of that. I can feel great that I did all that on top of the fact that I did X, Y, Z. So if you make it your duty for self-care, like once I'm here, then that's my cup of coffee for the day, right? Some people are like, it's just a cup of coffee, but you're actually taking that time, you're breathing. But if you are actually making the cup of coffee with intention of self-care, I love myself. That's why I'm doing this. I've picked out these beans, I've roasted them, I'm gently putting them in here. I'm putting it with intention. I know this bean is going to energetically give me what I need. It actually changes how your body assimilates it. It's like you are doing this blessing and this prayer over this water. We are, from any given moment, they say, 65 to 95% water, depending on which cell you are and where you are in the body, right? So that being said, energetically, it's a choice, and it's a conscious choice that we have to remake in the now.
Okay.
So I can beat myself up for all the stuff I didn't do, or I can say, you know what, now I'm just going to appreciate what is. Am I out of alignment? Probably. I just made that dude cry over there. So I'm going to take a breath and say, hey, I'm expressing my emotions. I'm allowed to feel them. This person's allowed to feel theirs. How do we go from here? Oh, they say they need some assistance with this. Do they actually need this assistance? Is this taking away from me studying myself and what I need to actually work through? Yes or no, right? Then you get to play that game, yes or no. And then when you say yes, you see this path. And if you say no, that's understood. It's corrected it for, and then you see this path. And you still have this opportunity to still get in alignment. It's just you have to keep going forward.
Right.
It's the momentum of us staying on our path that brings us into union, not the let's help them with their issues because then I know that they're good, so I can union with them. No, that's not how that works because
Mhm.
you are mirroring each other. If you're saying their sexuality and sexual energy is being wasted, guess what? So is yours. Yours isn't being cultivated. Yours
Mhm.
isn't being grown within. So there's a balance. So there might be a set of women who are putting or men putting aside their sexuality, ignoring it because it's safer and healthier if I just ignore that. Well, you're suppressing the body now. You're no longer acknowledging the temple and what it needs to function, and that sexual energy can be used to create. And so as we start to look at how to flow that energy through the body, studying people like Montauk Chia, like that the healing love through the Tao, that kind of stuff. We
Mhm.
start to learn our energetic systems better. We start to want to be in sexuality and in our empowerment and our masculine, right? Because part of us in that alpha state, you protect you in that alpha state. I'm not saying guard your heart, shut your shit down, alpha state. I'm saying, no, I'm not going to waste my energy over there. I know that person tends to want to suck my energy. I'm going to send an alpha and do this for myself, do my meditation, my yoga in the morning, and then I'm going to let my divine feminine feel that and bask in that joy, that glory, maybe even add some flow to it, a little dance. And
Mhm.
then I'm just going to do this back and forth and learn to get comfortable with myself. And as I do it, I create space and allow me to see me in a new way, allow me to be me in a new way. And so when I meet my other, I then have space for them to be them in a new way, them energetically to work on. Because yes, I could take all the shit that they could give to me. But does that make me better in boundaries? Does that make me better at understanding myself at all? No, that just makes me good at handling somebody else's garbage before my own. But the face
Mhm.
mask, right? You got to put yours on first
Right.
before the other person.
Right, that's true. And I want to add on to that. Sound like my kids. I want Miss Vicky, can I add on to that? But yes, uh, to that is that again, don't get into habit because it's negative to kick it over there to the other side too as well. Because again, if you're seeing something in your twin, again, it's time for you to handle it as well. And I think sometimes some of us do use that as a out. Ooh, I see an easy out. So I don't have to handle that by me saying, oh, that's their stuff. I don't have to. And I like how she was just saying, okay, you know what? I was going to kick it back. But then I looked at it and say, you know what? Do I actually see some of that in me? Yeah. Okay. So maybe I need to work on that too. So that's what I want, us to understand again, to look at that. Some of that exhaustion stuff that you might be saying is them that's causing me to be exhausted because they're sucking the energy. They ain't doing what they supposed to be doing. And so that's why I'm waking up exhausted all the time, to really start picking it apart and really looking at it from a more open-minded view and say, okay, let's actually see, is this some of my stuff too? Is there something that's being reflected back from what they're doing that I need to check at the door and say, okay, let's sit down and let's get into this. Let's push up our sleeves and start doing the work. So I'm in agreement with you. I was just want to add on to that as
You can
well.
Mhm.
also ask them for assistance with stuff that you are blocked on.
Oh,
That
most definitely.
most definitely right, and that's true. A lot of times we don't. A lot of times we just, I got it. I pushed my sleeves up. I got it, Theory. And then we're taking it from that point and say, you know what? Can you kind of help? Like I told it, I said it in the video. Can you get your ass out the bleachers and come down here and play on the field with me? That would be most helpful. Because, instead of you cheering, talking about you got it. Yeah, I know I got it. But I'd do it better if you would come down off the bleachers and stop cheering for me and come down here on the field with me. That I'll be gracious for that. So you're right. So again, call them in and say, "Can you handle that?" Sometimes like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that. I can handle it." Yeah, you're supposed to be doing the work. Oh, okay. So that's a very good point too to bring out.
It's humbling when you've done everything and you're beating your head on a wall and you're like, something wrong with me, and it's like, nothing's wrong with you. You're not being open enough. And then I was like, oh, I need to ask for help. And even me just asking for help out loud made all the difference in the world, and things started opening up.
True.
It does.
And it's being vulnerable with yourself. Yes, your strong suit may be handling everything for everybody, but guess what? You got to work on that weakness too, which is I get to need help, and you get to do it voluntarily, or else the universe will put you in a position where you have to do something, and you don't want to have to do something.
Ooh, Jesus.
Oh, no, 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 no. Take it from me. When the universe tells you to do something, I implore you, I beg of you, do it then. Don't wait 2 years to do it. Do it then. You could save all kinds of headache and heartache.
But
But
God,
yeah.
that's when
But
we
as
go back to that circle to the front of the video. Now be grateful for your
and then
separation.
that's what I was just saying, thinking too is Divine Sunshine's talking about, come down out of the bleachers, get out on the field with me. One thing we've got to get out of our heads and get out of the mindset, we just had the moon that was the masculine energy. We're really coming into the last 3 months of the year are going to be a big push for masculine energy. This is very much the male masculine part of this. And we need to show gratitude for them too. Because one, we can't take on all their energy and try to fix everything for them. We're not their mothers. That's not how this relationship works. This is an even. I'm not here to take care of you.
Yeah.
I may want to. I may love to spoil you and do all these things. But you know what? There's got to be some equal back. But we need to speak gratitude. And this has just come to me. We need to speak gratitude. I am so thankful that you are strong enough to handle everything the universe has given you. I am so thankful that you are so strong that you can handle everything the universe has given you, because that shows your faith and trust in love, unconditional love. That means it doesn't matter what the universe is thrown at them. If it's an illegitimate child, if it's a bankruptcy, if it's a bad marriage, if it's bad choices, whatever it is, if it's drugs, if it's a bad lifestyle, it doesn't matter. We are just so thankful that they have the strength to handle what the universe has given to them. You speak that over your divine, either feminine or masculine, and I'll tell you, just saying it makes you it's like a warm feeling, and it's almost like a thank you.
Okay, let's all do it together, real slow. But you said a lot of things. I'm gonna do after. I'm gonna mirror you or whatever it is. Copy. I am so thankful. Okay, what is it?
I am so thankful and grateful.
Thankful and grateful
that you can handle everything the universe has given you.
Everything the universe has given you. Okay, I want to do what I want to do. Okay. I am so grateful that you are a good dancer. Because you guys are supposed to be repeating me. You guys are just.
I was like,
is this thing on?
Who's a good dancer? Wait a minute, I don't know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
So great.
Have you not seen the pigment on this skin? Yeah, dancing is not hard.
Hey! I didn't say no to any part of your decline. I'm setting it up good for you.
Okay.
Oh, your other's a good dancer. I seen your hips move. He's like, I can't wait to unlock this belly dancing woman. Oh, I am so grateful. You are such a good dancer.
I am so grateful you are such a good dancer.
And I see you flowing right back to me.
And I see you flowing right back to me.
And I see you flowing right back to me.
Yay!
The way she said that, I was like, oh, waterfall. It was, to me, the sexiest thing in the world is like waterfall.
Yes.
Well,
Like,
a lot of people have been talking about if you have an opportunity to meditate either to the sound of a waterfall or if you live in a geographical area that has waterfalls, to go to them and meditate. That there's something right now about this time of year in a waterfall about the purification before, and especially in areas where it like freezes, like in the mountains and stuff. There's something about the moving of that last bit of water for the purification.
Oh, yeah? Oh, YouTube got a whole bunch of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just pick
We're
one.
telling people to go take long showers. Just kidding. Clean.
Only
if you're hooked up to your neighbor's water, but no.
I know, I'm like Earth sustainability. Oh, somebody from, Greenpeace just make a diamond. I don't even know.
But the water company just bought a new BMW, so.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, but we've got to.
Isn't it weird that we're still paying for like water? We're still paying for food and housing. Like, I think it's still weird that as a society, like with all these human beings, that we haven't figured out ways for everyone to have food and water already. Like, I feel like it's like a
shelter.
It's like a duh moment.
That's true.
Like, especially if you go to other countries, you don't see the homeless populations that we have here.
It's like, why are we not taking care of everybody? We'd be so much better off collectively.
True.
I mean, we wouldn't be overpopulated the way we are, and we're saying we're overpopulated, but our Earth can handle. We just don't distribute well. I heard about Canada. They were they're getting $2,000 a month right now. People are starving over here and losing jobs.
Right. Yeah, they take
it. Just like, hello.
And they still have all that land that's never been developed. And it's not in the pipelines or anything. It's just beautiful land that's just there. And here we are, trying to build on top of each other.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to vote for white man 1 or white man 2. You just tell me, the elderly old white man, which one? Even if it had been a woman, they would know about distribution of resources. I don't think they do. They're like, but I'm a rich white old man. The things just happen. They give me what I need. What's this? I have medicine.
Ready for a woman leader, but they already said women are better leaders than men. But
well, it takes all kinds.
Look at Cleopatra.
I tried to watch a movie recently, and I realized why I couldn't and why I got such bad reviews. It was something about the gods of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
I was so offended. Every single person that was a prominent person was a white person. And I was like, but y'all in Egypt, though. That's like the Middle East. You just have 3 black people as extras in the back. Anyway, I guess I turned it into political, racial debate at the end of today's episode.
It's just will become one super race.
But that's funny because I do remember my mom talking about that, even as a small child. I mean, she talked about things about like not getting a barcode before like barcodes were talked about, or not being chipped, she used to say. And I had to be 6 or 7. But then she also talked about how it was just everybody was just going to become one race. There wasn't going to be the segregation.
No, we have fetishes. We have things. I don't think we're gonna blend out as people. People like big feet. People like short people. People like tall people. People like fat people. People like skinny people. And we're gonna get to a point where it's just gonna be like, hey, it's what you like. I think there's too much preference. I guess if we all go so PC that we no longer choose a mate based on what we're actually attracted to, we do
Right.
it based on logic or numbers, then we could
Mm.
potentially wipe out races. But I think we like what we like, you know.
Yeah, but I remember me showing, because I was a social studies teacher, and I also remember when I talked about the evolution of human man, and they had several, it was like a video I remember I seen on YouTube, and I had showed that where it was several of them saying the theory is that after a while, it's going to just be a blending of all of the genes coming together as one, and you're just going to have this one type of race. It's supposed to be like big eyes,
Brown
multi,
skin, like a medium, like a light brown skin.
yeah, it's supposed to be all multicultural race, and then and the hair, and all of them look the same. Big eyes, the women, the feminines, and the males were the same thing. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It was just like this is just going to be one major merge and one type of race of everything. The hair, all of that is just a blend of everything all together. That's what they.
Well, they didn't count into. They're not counting. You know, I would hate to say that. I'm not going to say that out loud. Let me think about this. I don't want to say this
Okay.
because you know how we could create stuff with the three of us. Well, with a bunch of us here right now, we could create things. So let me just say this the right way.
Okay.
um, I think that our beauty and our artistry and our individuality as humanity is going to prevent us from creating a homogenized race
Right. That's
of
what it is.
human beings.
Right.
But we might get close. We might have a lot of mixes and a lot of really interesting, beautiful things come out. But I think, you know, overall, there's too much variation for us to end up as one.
As one like that. I got you. I understand. I'm in agreement. When I seen that the kids, we were like, what? Oh wow. Look kind of almost
Well,
like
to be fair, they like to overgeneralize,
true.
right? So the opposite of Pangea, right? All the planets, all the continents supposed to come together the opposite way, and da 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 da. Like this is all theory, and this is all theory. They don't really know until the passage of time.
Right.
Like they tried to say that genes, specific genes, were proved aggression, right? Because they looked at a bunch of black men in prison who had been in prison for a long time. They had a certain type of gene expression. Well, when they took that gene expression and they took it to kids off the street who've been in really stressed out environments, and then black kids who were not in stressed out environments, but they still had the same genes, they tried to say, oh, it was a propensity for becoming criminal or becoming aggressive based on this gene expression. And I was like, okay, so it's based on what you're looking at and how you're studying it. So what they're saying is, oh, I'm an Asian guy and I like black chicks, and I see that that keeps happening. And I see white dudes and, you know, like just races combining together. I see it everywhere. So eventually we're going to get to a point where there's only one looking people. And it's like, well, let's look at people in general. Her and I are both brown people, but we look very, very different and we have very different blends. I'm very tall. She's not as tall as me.
Thank you. I love that you are very political with that. My height challenge there, my vertical challenges. Thank you.
But I mean, it's just our children may look similar, but they'll never be the same.
No. It is
Kathy D's children look nothing like my children.
No. But boy, do they look like each other and look like their cousins. So
yes. There you go. There you go. There you go.
So even if they're cousins of our kids' offspring met, they still would look completely different.
yep.
Than, you know, so just saying.
Is there any, as we round up? Oh, it's 1:14. We was doing some things today. This is good
114,
discussion.
12. Yes.
Well, is there any questions? Any other questions that we start to wrap up? Are there any questions that we start to wrap up anymore out there? This is a good topic. We jumped all over the place, but I think it all helped us to understand what is. You all get the comments before I do on my thing. Because sometimes I'm delayed. All I see is CPN Texas is my last one.
Yeah, that is the last one.
Okay, that's the last one. Okay. About that. So it just really looks like, and as you all were talking, I heard a lot about just like the conflict of that's adding on, and I talked with the kids as far as what is the adding on to exhaustion. And one of the lessons that we had learned about conflict was, the different states of it. So I'm hearing you all say, as I wrap up and I'll summarize it, is that when we're talking about what's the causing of the exhaustion, some of it is man versus man, which is outside in ourselves. Some of it is man versus self, which is the conflict of the exhaustion of going back and forth with ourselves with the energies, whether it's alpha and omega. That part. I hear man versus society, how the society is adding on the pressure by you saying about with the Christmas and the seasonal things and about these holidays that's coming up as well, which is interesting that the grocery stores are even also confirming and also solidifying it, because they say they're going to sell smaller turkeys because they understand it won't be such large numbers at the table for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So that's interesting too as well. And then man versus technology, because that can be also, you look at social media so much, it's adding to your depression or your exhaustion or your
Absolutely.
stress as well. Too, is again man versus supernatural, which is about spirit and God and those things as well out there. You're having that fight against, this is what the divine feminine energy is supposed to be doing. This is what the divine masculine energies, that too could add on to the exhaustion. And it was another one, man versus God, which would be like something like this outside of yourself, much bigger than that. So I'm hearing that too. So that's all different kinds of forms of ways in which that just hit me. I was like, that's like a conflict. So that's all the different kind of forms of ways in which that's adding on to our exhaustion as a divine feminine or even a divine masculine. We just picked divine feminine.
Okay, I have a great solution. Everybody,
Yes, ma'am.
take a deep breath. Okay, you
Yes.
just laid out a bunch of really beautiful stuff.
Okay.
Feel that conflict, whatever it is. Feel the conflict. Have it rise up in your body. No, keep your eyes open. We're gonna do this
Okay.
eyes open. I need you
Okay.
to stay with me here, because
Okay.
being here in the present while feeling in the pain and the emotion and going through it, like, ow, dude, ow, man, oh my goodness. Yes, being present, taking the deep breath and making yourself aware of the space around you, seeing it, feeling that conflict, and allowing the space that's about 3 feet in front of you. Just pick something in front of you to focus on. Take a deep breath. Allow the bubble that you have to enter up in between that. You know that you're safe. You know that you're protected. Now I want you to see the space in between you and the object you pick to focus on. Allow that space to become thick like water, thick like milk. Just take a deep breath and start to kind of feel into your body, feel into the space, feel into all at once. The space between your ears. Breathe that in. And I want you to take that focus again, that conflict, and allow it to filter and diffuse through this space that you've created. This breath, this space, this is your alchemy. This is you converting in real time, in real space, that conflict into beauty, into peace, into space. Knowing that the universe itself all works together for you, for this divine space. And now start to direct it towards that positive energy, that positive imagining, that creation. And now we've just taken our power back from the pain, from the conflict, and we put it into creation. Okay. How do we feel with that?
Good.
Good.
There we go. Because
Good.
that's it. Because that's what's going to happen, right? We're going to be triggered. We're going to be feeling it. And then there's space for change. There's space for growth. There's space for us to feel into it. Oh, but I heard he was delivering his sexuality. Oh, da, da, da. Space for allowed to become new. Oh, well, me, I can focus on myself now. I can focus on my sexuality, yes. Oh, but I didn't do this for so long and I want to blame myself. Oh, but there's space. There's space to create anew. Okay, anyway, that's enough of the example of the la 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 la.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
And we need, we've talked about with gratitude and with our words. And there's one last thing, a point I want to make, and because I hear it all the time when people talk about the karmic, and in my situation where I have mine here, stop using the pronouns of you being together with that person. Our house. No, that's my house. And now, not meaning that I have ownership to it, but you've got to start making that separation. You hear all this time, well, he's with that karmic and they're together. No, don't put those words out there. We do it to ourselves, and we've got to be so careful on how we say things. And April has said that 100 million times, and it's finally gotten through to me. But we have to be so careful with our words and our word choices. And especially now, especially when we're going into gratitude, you can't be at one moment, I'm so grateful for the strength you have to handle whatever the universe gives you, and then turn around and then talk out of the other side of your mouth, as my mother would say, about bad about them. If they're this great person, they're this great person day or night, with you or without you. And you've got to make that known to yourself and to, anyone else.
Right. Right. That's true. That's true. Practice gratitude and change the verbiage.
It's very important. We've got to, especially now, there's so many big changes coming that are going to happen just in the blink of an eye, and we've got to be prepared for them.
Right. Right. It's about, again, restoring balance. That's what they said in November. Restoring balance. About it's going to come in so many different forms and fashion, as far as how they're going to bring that to us as well. All right, then, the playground, start gathering your things in the sandbox area and your shoes and everything as we wrap up. Do we have any kind of specials going here? We're going to start with you, April, since you're at the bottom.
Why, darling, the special is you. Wait, that didn't come out right. I don't know. Is it okay to call people special?
I ain't taking that.
In the world of being overly PC, I want to say that you are unique and people love you.
Right. Yeah. I didn't see it any other way. Y'all done pumped me up today. I'm so positive. I wasn't even thinking of it the other way of saying that. Yeah.
I'm going to be adding my womb healing. I finally was able to upload that. So that womb healing, that was a special recorded back when we did the divine with Sunshine Circle. I'll be putting that up on my website. That's a very, very powerful tool to work with. I'm still waiting for the go-ahead from the ancestors to do Ho'oponopono. So as soon as that comes through, I'll be able to do that.
Okay.
Until then, there's plenty of material out there for you to practice on your own. Kathy D is an amazing. She's the next one. If you want to get with me this month, I'm doing a lifestyle reboot, like a full physical detox. They have them you can do them whenever you want, but I am really big on cleaning the gut. It helps clean the mind, help you relate to your intuition, your owl better. So just come join us on this journey. Remember, I'm going to do my close early. Remember, you were made for this golden life. So treat yourself to the honor and the gift that is you.
And this is the best time to do any type of healing work is right now. That's what they said. This is the time for you to do that and to solidify it too. All right, then. Our own Kathy D, you got anything? This is her contact information, pineapplefishlifecoaching.com. You got anything special going on?
Well, we talked last week about the fairy tale journaling, and the powers that be have come down and said, hold, please. So we're holding on that. So if you've looked for it and been like, I can't find it, it's coming. When the time is right, it will come. There's just lots of stuff going on right now. I'm having to finish scraping off that stuff off the bottom of the coffee pot so that it'll all flow freely and clearly like it is meant to and designed to. But I do want to say to be careful to my very handsome brother and my beautiful sister who are traveling down to Florida right now. They're driving and listening to us. So mwah, I love you all very much. I can't wait to see you. And please be careful. You got, be careful there, Jerry. You got, precious cargo with you. So, I'll go ahead and close mine out too, wishing you all the best life ever. See you real soon.
And then you got little old special me, the special snowflake of the group. The little ray of sunshine, divine unisource 11.co. I feel like a little leprechaun. I wish I could speak Irish. But anyway, the special water group. So again, you can get any kind of, right now, you can see a theme. Spirit is kind of directing some of us to kind of like hold and pull back on projects and just concentrate on self. Let us kind of figure out some things before we add on another layer. That's the same thing with me. You see me kind of doing that even on mine. However, we still have directed of anything that you need counseling or things of that nature, not the reading thing. I'm also right now directed of helping you all. So I have my transformational readings too, where I do one-on-one and telling you with spirit and source, telling you what things that you need to change. So if you're interested in that, go to divineunisourcelove.co for a booking for that. And then, collectively, we have 2 packages that are running. We have one of them, again, it's a playground experience. If there's a direct thing that you want to change to create a transformation in your life about, please let us know. Again, we have a program in which all of us give our gifts and talents, skills, and abilities to help you out with the mind, spirit, and body. Right. Those 3 things. Right. So that will help you as well. And then also with me, we also have, our own past life regression thing too about past lives. So we can be able to help you to go back and to bring it forward so you can be able to create that change and those shifts too in your what's happening with you presently. All right, then, as always, I say my sign off, stay uplifted, stay motivated, stay ascending. Namaste, namago. Love you. All right, until next time, always remember to click like, share, and subscribe to this channel as well so you can get all the good information too. All right, until next time, see ya.
Bye.